and to ensure our overall safety. Our current hours of operation are from 10:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. At this moment, we strongly encourage patients to only come to the office if you have made an appointment or have called in advance, as we only allow a specific number of individuals in office at one time. Per CDC recommendations, we are still following social distancing protocol, so we ask that all patients keep at least 6 feet of distance between themselves and others. Patients are required to wear a mask in order to enter the office and thus be seen by the doctor. Also, upon entrance, your temperature will be taken and we'll be asking you some questions concerning symptoms and exposure. While we are open, we understand that many still may be tentative to leave their homes, so we are currently offering virtual appointments using telemedicine technology and general wellness calls. If you have any questions or simply just want to schedule an appointment with us, please do not hesitate to call at 516-200-3850. The Print Center for the Visually Impaired wants to thank you all for your continued support and cooperation, and we know with your help, we'll be able to build a safe and healthy environment for our staff and patients. Avec tout ça qui a passé à COVID-19, bureau nous fait une série de changements pour nous plus bien prendre soin patients nous et pour nous protéger santé nous toutes. Nous ouvrons porte nous chaque jour à 10h30 le matin et nous fermons à 4h. Dans ce moment ça, nous recommandons tout patient nous pour faire appointment aux soirées les avant de venir dans le bureau parce que nous seulement permettons une certaine quantité de monde dans l'office là. Avec recommandation CDC ou soit Center for Disease Control, nous avons toujours suivi le protocole social distancing et nous demandons tout patient nous pour quitter au moins de 6 pieds de distance avec tout le monde. Tout patient a une obligation pour mettre masque dans le visage pour rentrer dans le bureau et pour voir le docteur. En plus de ça, nous prenons la température de tout le monde qui vient et nous posons une série de questions sur les symptômes qu'ils ont sentis. Même si nous ouvrons, nous comprenons que pile monde a toujours senti un doute pour quitter le caillou. Et c'est peut-être ça nous offrons tout patient un rappel gratis avec le docteur. Ça qui est un wellness call, côté vous discuter des problèmes que vous gagnez avec yeux. En plus de ça, nous offrons virtual appointments avec technologie telemedicine. Si vous avez aucune question ou soit vous voulez faire un appointtement avec nous, pas hésiter à relayer nous dans 516-200-3850. Nous voulons dire famille nous dans Pcvi que nous vraiment apprécions ce pour nous bon nous et nous souhaitons que nous continuions à protéger tête nous et la santé nous. In lieu of all that is happening with COVID-19, we have adjusted our office policies to best suit our patients and to ensure our overall safety. Our current hours of operation are from 10:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. At this moment, we strongly encourage patients to only come to the office if you have made an appointment or have called in advance, as we only allow a specific number of individuals in office at one time. Per CDC recommendations, we are still following social distancing protocol, so we ask that all patients keep at least 6 feet of distance between themselves and others. Patients are required to wear a mask in order to enter the office and thus be seen by the doctor. Also, upon entrance, your temperature will be taken and we'll be asking you some questions concerning symptoms and exposure. While we are open, we understand that many still may be tentative to leave their homes, so we are currently offering virtual appointments using telemedicine technology and general wellness calls. If you have any questions or simply just want to schedule an appointment with us, please do not hesitate to call at 516-200-3850. The Prince Center for the Visually Impaired wants to thank you all for your continued support and cooperation. And we know with your help, we'll be able to build a safe and healthy environment for our staff and patients.
Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you are, based on your time zone. This is one of our first show in PCVI and community for the month of June, and this month is also a special month. Like in the beginning, like from February and up to now, we've been having special show due to the COVID-19, and we have show about the how to protect yourself. We have show with special guests like with doctor, with lawyer, and tonight we have a special show because the show tonight why is so special because as the market is start to reopen, a lot of people lost the job. A lot of people lost the family member or the parent, and at the same time too, a lot of job eh, that try to reopen and the finance is not as great. And during all the pandemic, the government first give a stimulus check for everyone, and the government talk about a home loan emergency relief, which we did have a lawyer that was a guest at PCVI and community. And tonight is always and is more special because we've been having a lot of small business owner been asking us, me personally, a lot of doctor that own practice been asking me, well, my CPA told me I'm not qualified, or I cannot get anything with with the paycheck protection loan or whatever the loan the government is giving. And I want to keep all my staff, but we don't have the resources. And some of them even ask other question. Now, and about even if we get that loan, if patient doesn't show up, and are we going to just use it to pay all the employees, stuff like that? And what's more important is a lot of other business that doesn't know, that doesn't have the opportunity to get a CPA to set up the business for them. But that doesn't have the money to pay an attorney to get it done for them, and that doesn't even know. It's not because they're not qualified, they don't know how to do it. Because I have business owner that said to me, well, I applied, they want to give me $1,000, or myself, I already make more than that. And why? Because they don't know how to do it. And that's why to our network, I always say that to everyone watching PCVI network, don't take it for granted. In a lot of show, I said we bring special guests. These guests are not guests you can get easily. Like we get some high profile doctor. Usually that people pay to see them, and we get high profile attorney. People pay to see them. And tonight we're going to have a guest that's well versed because the last time I checked her, I saw in a webinar, this webinar, it was not for free. And we bring her to you to answer all your questions as for how you can get your business get back on track. And a lot of you may say, well, this is not about vision. Why Dr. Prince is talking about it on PCVI Network? PCVI Network is supposed to enhance quality life of people that visually impaired or blind. Guess what? People visually impaired and blind, they own business also. And that's why uh, this month mean a lot. But before we talk about what's going on, I'm going to welcome my guest. Shana, I'm going to welcome her and she can present herself.
Hi, doctor.
Yeah, but I want you to just give an overview of yourself to the PCVI, to a lot of people from PCVI Network who are watching the show tonight.
No problem. First, I want to thank the doctor. I myself, I am visually impaired, right? And by looking at me, most people wouldn't know this, but pretty much for my whole life, I have 20/20 vision in one eye and was deemed legally blind in the other eye. And it wasn't until I came to Dr. Prince's visually impaired center that I got encouragement that I could actually improve the vision in my legally blind eye. So thank you so much, doctor. I am a client and a satisfied client of your practice and your services. And thank you so much for having me on tonight. So my name is Shauna Heath, and my husband and I, my husband's Ovington Prophet, we own several businesses in the Jamaica Queens area. We have a tax practice of the national franchise that we've had for over 5 years in, like I said, Jamaica Queens in the Hollis area. We're located on Francis Lewis Boulevard and Jamaica Avenue. We also own a consultancy firm that deals with audits, that deals with advisory and cases like that where you need somebody to represent you or to dig a little deeper into the paperwork if you're in a situation where you're being audited. Um, with that practice, we have a wonderful network, tax attorneys, ex auditors for the IRS, ex auditors for New York State. We've had countless interns that are forensic accountants for the local schools. So that's our tax practice. Our other business, we also do insurance. You guys can see the banner behind me. I am an Allstate agent as well in the neighborhood. So that's a little bit about what we do in the Jamaica Queens area.
Well, as you can see, she wears several hats, and she is the, but we're not going to talk about it. Yes, but I'm going to ask you to give me 1 minute. I can share with our with our audience, people that watching us, to remind them June is a safety month, and I know they may see that from the government talking about it, from the specifically from the SBA loan, but also June is a cataract awareness month, and also June is a deafblind awareness week. Why we say deafblind awareness week? When we talk about this, we talk about Ellen Keller, and me anytime I'm saying that name, Ellen Keller, I'm always smiling because she's one of the one that's one of my people, one of the people that inspire me to go to the field. Because if someone born since 1 years old and a half, deaf blind, she doesn't hear, she doesn't see, and good for her, she found a teacher, Anne Sullivan, that teach her how to read to her hand. Teacher, we use her. She use her hand and teach her letter from her hand. From that time, she goes, and she was, all the everything you heard about the businesswoman, stuff like that. We're not going to talk about that tonight because we have the whole month to talk about it. And also, this month is Global Accessibility Awareness Day. Accessibility doesn't mean having can only. It means communication. It mean like we do in this show, and we have to make sure we do the show in different people that doesn't see, that cannot hear will be able to get the sense to get it. People that doesn't see will be able to listen to it. A lot of stuff. Now, this is what I have for you because I don't want to take too much in the time, because the topic tonight is a paycheck protection loan, economic and injury disaster loan, the forgiveness process. Now, as we heard from our guest, she and her husband own several business, and also based when I read on newspaper, these they've been helping people, some business get some form of loan from the BBA loan over close to $1 million. And I would want to ask Shana, and can you explain to everyone what the payroll protection loan is, what is about?
Okay. So I'll make a distinction and I'll differentiate there are three opportunities that was presented by the SBA via the CARES Act for business owners. One was the economic injury disaster loan, and that is geared towards it's a long-term loan. It's not forgivable. It is a loan, and it's a 30-year term loan that if you are approved, you have up to 30 years based on your approval. Um, the funds that you receive from this loan are for operating expenses, for working capital, right? So it's
Mhm.
to run the day-to-day of your business. Also, we had the economic injury disaster grant. That grant was up to $10,000, and then it was revised to say $1,000 of a grant for each of your eligible employees. Those grants and that loan, people are now starting to actually get access to them and get approved for them, and those funds are starting to get distributed. So that's one program. The other one is the Paycheck Protection Loan. So this is geared towards helping businesses to afford their payroll costs. So a portion of this goes towards straight payroll, and another portion of this is going to go towards operating expenses, but they're approved operating expenses. Okay. So there's a list, and we'll get into it, of the approved operating expenses and the ratio and how you have to spend the money. The Paycheck Protection Loan, they are still accepting applications for. There is still money available for that loan, and it is a loan that can be turned into a forgivable grant. Meaning, if you meet all the stipulations of your loan and you submit a forgiveness application, then you can potentially get all or a portion of these funds forgiven, in which you do not have to pay them back.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I wish some of my patients can get some of they are given because they are struggling. And also, now, which business that's qualified to get this? Because I've been having a lot of doctor because that's my network, that's my niche. That being said to me, the CPA said to me they are not qualified. What the qualification? What type of qualification you need to have?
So most businesses are qualified in terms of what they do as a business, right? What the qualification is really based on are two things. For businesses that actually run a payroll, and let me back up. So there's a covered time period in which the Small Business Administration said, in this period, we're willing to assist business owners because we know, one, unemployment is high, COVID, as a direct result of COVID-19 and forced closures of businesses. So let's, put some assistance to out there to help even unemployment rates, because business owners need to continue paying their staffs. So there was a covered period of 8 weeks in which you were able to say, I can get a loan and help fund my payroll. And the 8 weeks would start from the date that you received that this distribution. So what businesses have to look at is, one, do I run a payroll? And not paying an independent contractor, but do I run a payroll? Do I have W-2 employees, right? Do I pay myself? If you're an independent contractor, like you're self-employed, or you have a single member LLC or a general partnership, those businesses are qualified as well. The rules are a little different for them. As a self-employed person, let's say, for example, I drive Uber and Lyft. I'm self-employed. I don't run a payroll. Do I have access to these funds? Yes, you do. So it's based upon, one, if you are self-employed and had a net profit on your Schedule C filing, or if you are a single member LLC and you had a net profit on your Schedule C filing. If you are a business that ran payroll and you can show that, yes, I had W-2 employees, there is a formula that figures how much you would be entitled to. So most businesses that run payroll or self-employed individuals, I would encourage them to speak to someone to help them with the calculations to see if they can qualify, and how much they would qualify for.
Well, because I know you talk about the Uber driver, because we know a lot of Uber driver that's not even apply because they know they may not qualify. Now, I know you said they can get any people to help them, but I don't know what's going on because the CPA, a lot of CPA been push them away, said to them, well, you didn't pay enough tax or you're not qualified, stuff like that. But it basically look like the way you explain it, look like it's different.
So everybody's situation is going to be different. Now, the loan is based on, this particular paycheck protection loan is based on a net profit, right? So you have to be able to show whether on your K1, which is the document that you receive when you file a business tax return. If you're a part of the ownership, you would get a K1, or you have to be able to show a net profit on your Schedule C filing, line 31 of that Schedule C filing. So if someone, rightfully so, took all of the deductions that they were able to take, and let's say they don't have a net profit, they took a loss, then they would not be able to qualify for the funds based on a loss, you know. But let's say they have a profit of $1,000. When you do the calculation, that $1,000 profit isn't going to, it's going to be pennies on the dollar. It's not going to amount to anything worth taking the loan out for. So I definitely would say that if anyone has the feeling that they want a second opinion, or they feel like they haven't looked into this and they want to see if they qualify, myself and my network, we are willing and able to take a look at that. But it's based on a net profit. So for a lot of people who do not have a net profit and may have taken a loss, then you're right, they would not qualify.
Now,
Now,
well, yeah.
but and keep in mind though, if those same people actually ran a payroll and they were running payrolls and they have W-2 employees, then that net profit argument does not apply to them. They still may qualify based on those W-2 filings.
Okay, now, is there, I mean, because I'm just talking for my people, because
Hmm.
I'm a lot of actor that always have loss, even they have a separate business in the
Yeah.
file. If there is a way you can help them if they want to reverse it.
So they they can't reverse it. They're not going to be able to reverse it because let's this loan is moving so quickly in terms of the rules and how it's being governed and the forgiveness process. Donald Trump, our president, just signed into in one of the bills that was on the table over the past couple weeks, to amend how the forgiveness process is going to work. So he just signed that bill, and as of today, it's official. And I can go into step by step if you'd like in terms of, if you do qualify, what it is you need to do for forgiveness, because qualifying is kind of straightforward, right? So you're going to need somebody to be able to look at your payroll filings if you ran a payroll to say you qualify, these are the calculations, this is what you qualify for. And if you didn't run a payroll, then you'll need somebody to look at your business from a net profit, gross profit standpoint to see if you qualify and what you qualify for, right? So that can get very interesting depending on which business owner we're speaking to. It's not going to be a one answer for every single business owner. Now, when it comes to what the funds are for, there it's very specific what the funds are for. When it comes to forgiveness, they're actually easing up on being able to forgive this loan, and a lot of people are actually starting to get funded. So I'm getting calls where a lot of people that put in applications and thought that, you know what, it's so much time has passed, they're not going to fund me, they're getting funded. We're helping people that we put in an application for on Friday, and by Tuesday they're approved and getting a deposit by the end of the week. So if you're unsure, then this is a perfect time to get a second opinion, or give us a call and we can help you to figure out if you qualify and for what. But reversing things, you're not going to be able to reverse it. The time period of this loan was originally for 8 weeks. You had to have been in business at least September 15th of 2020, right? What this what they're going to look at to see if you qualify, if you're not a new business as of September 5th, or as of September 15th, 2020, or the beginning of the year up till that point, if you're not a brand new business, what they'll be looking at is 2019 information, right? So they're going to be looking at your W-2 filings from 2019, or your net profit from 2019. So to go back and reverse that, maybe not. But if you have not filed your 2019 yet, then you have an opportunity to say, well, can I still get this? Or if you did file it, you have an opportunity to look at the information you filed and see if you qualify.
Okay, that's good. But let me ask. There is a question on the group. I know you already answered the first one. The second one, one of the persons said, do I have to be in business for a specific amount of time? Well, I guess you answered that too.
No, no, you don't. For as long as you were an existing business before February 15th, 2020, it's not about a specific time. Then it's going to be about looking at your numbers at this point. So if you were in business in 2019 and you ran a payroll, we'll look at that. If you were someone who files a Schedule C filing, then we'll take a look at the net profit on that. If you started your business January 1st or before September 15th, 2020, then we'll take a look at profit loss for the business up until that point. So you do not have to have been in business for like a whole year or anything like that.
Okay, that's good. And another question: what proof are they asking to show expenses?
Okay, so expenses, that goes into the forgiveness part of this loan scenario. So I'll back up before we talk about what proof, and let's talk about what expenses, because the expenses are very, very specific. So if I go out and buy office supplies, that does not count as an expense specifically for the paycheck protection loan. For the paycheck protection loan, it's true to what it sounds like. So the majority of the loan has to be spent on payroll and payroll expenses, right? So up until today, the rule was 75% has to be spent on payroll, and 25% is allowed to be spent on qualifying expenses. These qualifying expenses were things like rent, utility payments, and by utilities, we mean gas, electric, light, internet, telephone. Those things are utilities, right? Um, and you could spend it on qualified mortgage interest. So if you own the property, if your business owns the property that you operate out of and you have a mortgage on that property, the business holds a mortgage on that property, the property is a tangible physical asset, then the interest can be part of your expensable expenses, right? Part of those qualified expenses. If you have equipment that you've mortgaged, you have a loan on that equipment, the interest rate that you pay on that, they're able to use that as a qualified expense. If you have a lease, your business leases equipment or vehicle, you can use that as a qualified expense. But the bulk of the funds need to be spent on a payroll. So whether it is you are self-employed or you have employees as well, it is based on a payroll. As of today, instead of just 75% and 25%, now we are able to do 60% payroll and 40% qualified expenses. So now businesses have a little more money to work with to say, pay rent. Like, for example, in New York, our rent is very, very high. So we have a little bit more to put towards an expense like rent. All right. So you have more to put towards your utilities. You can choose which ratio you want to use. If you want to stay with the 75% payroll, 25% qualified expenses, you can use that calculation, or you can choose the 60-40 calculation that just came into play. So when it comes to what proof do I need for expenses, it's what proof you would need on a tax return if you were audited. So you would need your receipt if you were invoiced. If you're paying interest, you can account for that in your loan, right? You get your statement, you can account for what went to principal, what went to interest. If you have a light bill, you can say, I paid X amount of dollars. This is the bill that I paid the money to. This is the account it came out of, or this is the check that I wrote, or this is the money order that I sent. If it's payroll, you can have a payroll system. We happen to be wholesalers for ADP. So, if somebody says, I got funds and I want to hire people, and how do I get set up on payroll? We can help you with that. Or if you know someone that does payroll, they can help you with that. Your payroll company can provide you with that receipt of, this is what I paid, this is how much I paid, this is the taxes I paid on behalf of this employee. So your payroll company can run reports for you for that, right? So when it comes to what do I need, you would need to spend the money in the way that the SBA has implemented. So it's only really for four things: payroll, qualified expenses, which include utilities, and mortgage interest, lease. That's it. And the mortgage interest is on business mortgage interest. So those are the categories in which you can spend the money right now.
Now, you know what? Now I see why some of the doctors are thinking to take a conservative approach. What they talk about conservative approach, because before they were focusing and get the money to keep their staff a, in place, but
Mhm.
now their focus, but we will go more in detail, because where they said they even ask question as for, do you want to keep your practice keep running, or do you want to just spend the whole money after that you don't have nothing on staff? Now, I wish when they give that opportunity, they will include it, because when you talk about lease equipment, so much, that's little money cannot even anyway.
No, so yeah, because this loan, the economic disaster relief loan, that was the loan to address your working capital, right? So
Mhm.
this whole situation came about pretty quickly, and it did take some planning on the part of the applicant and their CPA or their tax preparer or their lawyer to really plan this out. Because the economic disaster relief loan you can spend on working capital, operating expenses in general, right? So as long as the doctor isn't going out to buy a Lamborghini for himself, then you can use it on your operating expenses. The paycheck protection loan is very, very specific. But here's the thing also, it's a forgivable loan. There's no guarantee that all of it will be forgiven. However, let's say I don't want all of it to be forgiven because, quite frankly, like you said, I have to figure out how to spend this money, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it in the time frame that's given to me. So I'll give you an example. The old rules dictated that you had an 8-week covered period. So from the day you got the deposit into your account to, I believe that's what, 53 days. 8 weeks is about 58 days or 53 days. So you had 8 weeks to be able to spend the funds on either payroll or qualified expenses. Whatever you could not spend on these particular items is rolled over into a loan if it was not forgiven, right? So let's say I could only spend 10,000 out of the 15 according to what they wanted me to spend. So the 5,000 is rolled over into a loan, and the loan is 1%, and the term was for 2 years. Under the new ruling that was approved today, you have 24 weeks to spend the funds, or up until December 31st, whichever comes first. So now, for people who are just getting approved or were approved before, you have a little more time to figure out how to spend your money. Payroll is one of the largest expenses that a business has. I know what our payroll is, and that's where more than half of our money goes to our payroll, right? So it's a large expense that if you use the loan for that purpose, you can free up other funds to do other things, right? So you document properly, and you can free up your other funds that are coming in to do other things that the business needs to do. So let's say I don't want the loan forgiven, right? Let's say I need some time to figure this out, and I may not have all the expenses like you say. So I don't want to apply for forgiveness. Then you're just going to wait out the time frame where, if you get approved today and your 24 weeks have passed or December 31st comes, you have a 10-month period to apply for forgiveness. If I decide not to, it gets rolled over into a loan, right? So there are options where you don't have to be afraid to accept the funds. You just have to know how to responsibly handle it. And I personally, if you have a payroll, I wouldn't look at it as this is not enough money to do XYZ, because just use it and pay your people and use your funds that are coming in to do whatever else you need to do.
Okay, now, do that people that applied before, the new rule they have, did that new rule overlap with the
Yes.
old one, or do you still have to follow the old one?
No, you have a choice. So you're going to have a choice. For some people, it might be better to stick to the old rules. And here's why. If I am self employed and self employed, the calculation for forgiveness is a little different. For self employed individuals, approximately about 73% of that loan is automatically going to be forgiven. You don't have to apply for forgiveness in terms of proving payroll. You don't have to prove payroll. It's already determined that about 73% of that amount will automatically be forgiven, and approximately 26% of that amount has to go to qualified expenses. let's say I'm self-employed. I don't have a lot of qualified expenses. So I may not want to use the 60%, 40% rule because I don't have 40% of worth of expenses based on what I qualified for. If I got, $20,000, I might not have 40% of that for expenses, right? So I might want to stick to that 75 or 25 ruling. I might want to stay with that. If I am, a larger corporation and I may have, 4 or 5 people on staff, and I have a lot of expenses. I have excessive rent to pay, or I have utilities to pay. I have expenses that require a little more money. Then I can use 40% of what I receive towards that. So you can choose what it is that whichever way you want to go. If you want to stick with the old rules or when you want to go with the new rules. In terms of the term of the loan, the 2 years, it has been extended across the board to 5 years. So there's no prepayment penalty if you want to take the full 5 years and pay it off, or if you want to take 2 years and pay it off for the amount that's not forgiven, you have that option. There's no prepayment penalty, but automatically that would be adjusted on your, with your lender, that it's not 2 years any longer. It's now 5 years.
Good. Now, before we take a break, there is one question. I guess I'm going to read it for you on the live.
Mhm.
Can a non-profit organization qualify with 1099 contractor? I don't know. This is a
So,
question on the. You
yeah,
understand it?
yes. So nonprofits do qualify, they do. But 1099 contractors don't. And the reason why is because a 1099 contractor can qualify for their own PPP loan. So the SBA is not going to fund, or a lot of people actually have been getting funded for 1099s, but when it comes to forgiveness, they may have an issue because a 1099 employee can apply for their own PPP loan based on their net profit. So it has to be a W-2 employee, or if that nonprofit, we'd have to take a look at how that nonprofit pays directors, that stuff. We'd have to take a look at, 10 contractors for the forgivable part. No.
Well, I guess we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. A lot of great information from Shana. As I said in the beginning, she has a lot of information. I hope you don't take this information for granted. And this information she given, like I said the last time I showed her, a speech was not free, and we get her from the network. And as she explained it to us, there is a lot of change with the pandemic, and some are for the good, and for me, some of these changes will raise question with a lot of people, usually the way they do business. And if you always try to declare loss, now this is the time. Even if you have 1099 and you think it's good for you, but this type of opportunity, you will not have them. But when you get, but that's very good information. But and I saw you was freezing a little bit. That's why
Yeah.
I take over. But we're going to take a break, and we will be right back.
Okay.
The majority of vision rehabilitation professionals who teach clients how to use their remaining field of view are constantly asked to recommend the right book to explain eye diseases. Although there are several great books on the visual field available, none seem to meet the need and standard of vision rehabilitation professionals to satisfy their clients' needs. This book is therefore the prescription that encompasses the major topics of eye diseases in relation to low vision, orientation, mobility specialists, and vision therapy. This book answers all the questions about the anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, pathology, treatment, prevention, and vision rehabilitation therapy of any abnormality of the eye. This book can serve as a companion text for not only vision rehabilitation professionals, but also all medical and blindness students along with their family members. This book is available in all formats regardless of sight impairment, text, ebook, and audiobook. It is also available in all online bookstores, inside the eye disease website, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Zilligris. Manual for Child and Vision Development Milestones is a precious guide that discusses the physical, social, motor, cognitive, language, and emotional development that occurs from birth through early adulthood for children with and without vision. It also discusses the possible effects of maltreatment on child development. This book contains the most recent research theories and findings of child and vision development investigated by eye care specialists and psychologists. The manual also consistently relates information to real-life situations and demonstrates the usefulness of psychology in everyday life situations involving children. The content is designed to educate and guide a broad range of readers, including students, parents, child specialists, and doctors on developmental norms at different stages of a child's life. This book is available in all formats regardless of sight impairment: text, ebook, and audiobook. It is also available in all online bookstores, inside the Eye Disease website, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Zillibris.
Well, I don't know what happened, but we apologize for any technical issue that may happen. We are right back, and we're talking about the payroll protection loan, economic injury disaster loan, the forgiveness process, and we have our guest. As we said, she's well versed. She owns several business. Shana and her husband, Oviton Prophet, they own several business in Jamaica, Queens, New York. And let's continue back with our conversation. I know
Yeah.
you have some idea you was talking, but I see some question on the live. Let me read the question of the people. They said, one of the person said, so if 1099 employee can qualify, this loan is not just for business owner. Independent contractor are eligible. I believe this is what you said.
Yes, because an independent contractor, technically, you are a business owner. You're an independent contractor. You are not a W 2 employee or a salaried employee to a business. You are independently operating. So when you file your tax return as an independent contractor, a lot of times it is a Schedule C, which is a profit or loss for business. And you can use that Schedule C to see if you qualify based on your line 31, which is would be your net profit. So independent contractors do have an opportunity to apply for the PPP for sure.
Okay, that's good. I'm just reading. I have so many questions for you. I'm getting them in two different
Okay,
forms. Okay,
no problem.
now let me read that question for you. Do you have to show payroll to the same employee listed with application? What about new employee who replace a former employee who was there prior to receiving fund?
So that is an excellent, excellent question. Yes, I like that question. Okay, here's why I like that question. Because part of what the forgiveness application is going to take into account is something called full-time equivalent employees. So PTEs. Your full-time equivalent employees for the purpose of SBA are employees that have 40 hours, a minimum of 40 hours, right? It doesn't consider overtime, so it's 40 hours. So if you had an employee prior and that employee resigned, quit, did not, or, resign and quit, same thing, didn't want to come back to work for whatever reason, wanted reduced hours because they have to stay home with their family due to, the work restrictions and school restrictions going on. Somebody retired. Yes, you can replace that employee. So absolutely. You can also add employees. So let's say you started with 3 employees, but now you have 5. That is okay. So yes, you can replace that employee on the forgiveness application, because what they're really looking at is the full-time equivalent hours. And they want to see, are you maintaining the same amount of full-time equivalent, and are you maintaining a salary or the same pay or wage for your staff, or have you reduced the wages? So all of those things are considered.
And about if you increase the wage,
So you
if some
increased it.
apply, yeah, because
Mm-hmm. Go
during the
ahead.
COVID-19, a lot of employees call out sick. Some of them been positive
Mm-hmm.
for COVID-19. Some of them are
Yeah.
working more. And if that
Mm-hmm.
would be a problem,
No, that's not a problem, because that's literally what the law, the SBA will take all of that into account. So there is a safe harbor rule within the application and forgiveness process. So the safe harbor rule is in place for situations like this, right? Like I said, an employee did not come back for whatever reason. An employee is sick. An employee decided, you know what, I wanted work reduced hours. I cannot open my business properly because in New York State, I'm not on the list of essential services and we are still in a quarantine. We cannot reopen. All of these things are considered in the safe harbor rules. I had to reduce my staff hours for X reason. So in the safe harbor rules, they do make very specific provisions for these type of scenarios where you can exempt employee. So the money or the funds that would have gone to this full-time equivalent employee can be exempt from for having to turn into a loan for different reasons. Like my employee has COVID, they cannot come back, and I wasn't able to hire someone and still be able to, not and keep this staff member because I can't fire them just because they're sick. So all of these things are considered in those safe harbor rules.
okay, that's good. And let me look at my other phone now. Now,
Okay.
the question is, what proof can an independent contractor use?
So approved
You see the question in
2019 tax return.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, and as we said it, because we see Shana is stuck again. We don't know until she can get back. We will check and we'll continue. As we said, we have a Shana head, and that answer all your question as for if the payroll protection loan equipment. She is well versed. She's providing a lot of information. We have a lot of question for her, and this is the time, because I know a lot of you may have your own in practice, like me myself. I have my own practice, and I have other business too. I have employee, but it's good to have a a professional, that well versed, that master the situation. Sometimes it's good to have second opinion. You may talk to your CPA. Your CPA may say to you, but you're not qualified for this, for that. But when you talk with someone that can give you a lot of when I say, I don't say the CPA doesn't give you a lot of information, but what I feel like, I've been see a lot of people, even the CPA said to them they are not qualified, and when they apply, some of them apply for themselves, they still get something. They still, which is that's why I've been getting so many questions. So many people been asking me, or they can get to this thing and what they can do. Sometimes I refer them to people. Those people said, I just do it for myself, but I don't do it for people. That's why people like Shana help with her business. I hope when she finish, she can put her information on the live, and if um, if we can get her, and if anyone have any question, you can always ask her for question. And now until she get back, we're going to take a break. I don't know if she's back yet. If she's not back yet, we're going to take a break, and we will be right back.
Prince Center for the Visually Impaired is a state-of-the-art facility with low vision specialists for all your vision needs. Our low vision rehabilitation specialist will accurately measure your visual capabilities and help you use it more efficiently. Please call us today for a low vision evaluation at area code 516-200-3850 or stop by our local office located at 550 West Merrick Road, Suite 3, Valley Stream, New York, 11580. Do not assume your options are limited to surgery or glasses, and do not wait until you are legally blind to benefit from our services.
In lieu of all that is happening with COVID-19, we have adjusted our office policies to best suit our patients and to ensure our overall safety. Our current hours of operation are from 10:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. At this moment, we strongly encourage patients to only come to the office if you have made an appointment or have called in advance, as we only allow a specific number of individuals in office at one time. Per CDC recommendations, we are still following social distancing protocol, so we ask that all patients keep at least 6 feet of distance between themselves and others. Patients are required to wear a mask in order to enter the office and thus be seen by the doctor. Also, upon entrance, your temperature will be taken and we'll be asking you some questions concerning symptoms and exposure. While we are open, we understand that many still may be tentative to leave their homes, so we are currently offering virtual appointments using telemedicine technology and general wellness calls. If you have any questions or simply just want to schedule an appointment with us, please do not hesitate to call at 516-200-3850. The Prince Center for the Visually Impaired wants to thank you all for your continued support and cooperation, and we know with your help, we'll be able to build a safe and healthy environment for our staff and patients.
Well, we see we don't know ish. I'm logging into a different. Okay, now until August, since he is home, because when the internet is not that great when they are when some of the guests are home, that's what happened. That's why she's back in, but she just texted us. She said to us she will log in a different computer. um Now until we set back, but we're going to give her number for a lot of people on the live that may that been asking this information for Miss Shanahan, and her phone number is 516 669 5211, against 516-669-5211, and we're going to try to connect back with her, and because I know she has a lot a lot to talk about, and we're going to use that time. Just please be patient with us. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Prince Center Coronavirus Update. Your personal health and the well-being of your families and our staff are of primary concern for us here at the Prince Center as the situation regarding the coronavirus continues to evolve globally. You should not, under any circumstances, come to the office, even if you are just starting to feel sick. As always, if you have flu-like symptoms, including but not limited to fever, chills, shortness of breath, fatigue, body aches, and sore throat, you should not come to the office, even if you are just beginning to experience symptoms. It is best to contact your healthcare provider, and here are a few tips to apply before going to the emergency room. Wash your hands frequently. Use alcohol-based hand sanitizers if soap and water are not available. Cover a cough or sneeze with a tissue or with an elbow. Avoid touching your face with unwashed hands. And exercise proper self-care and social distancing as appropriate. You should monitor the developments and stay in close contact with your healthcare professionals and officials. In addition, we have activated business continuity plans and will continue to take a daily view of our policies and practices to help ensure your safety. We are committed to keeping you informed along the way during these times of uncertainty, and we sincerely thank you for acting responsibly and taking the appropriate precautions to maintain a healthy environment for everyone. Manual for Child and Vision Development Milestones is a precious guide that discusses the physical, social, motor, cognitive, language, and emotional development that occurs from birth through early adulthood for children with and without vision. It also discusses the possible effects of maltreatment on child development. This book contains the most recent research theories and findings of child and vision development investigated by eye care specialists and psychologists. The manual also consistently relates information to real-life situations and demonstrates the usefulness of psychology in everyday life situations involving children. The content is designed to educate and guide a broad range of readers, including students, parents, child specialists, and doctors on developmental norms at different stages of a child's life. This book is available in all formats regardless of sight impairment: text, ebook, and audiobook. It is also available in all online bookstores, inside the Eye Disease website, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Zillibris. The majority of vision rehabilitation professionals who teach clients how to use their remaining field of view are constantly asked to recommend the right book to explain eye diseases. Although there are several great books on the visual field available, none seem to meet the need and standard of vision rehabilitation professionals to satisfy their clients' needs. This book is therefore the prescription that encompasses the major topics of eye diseases in relation to low vision, orientation, mobility specialists, and vision therapy. This book answers all the questions about the anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, pathology, treatment, prevention, and vision rehabilitation therapy of any abnormality of the eye. This book can serve as a companion text for not only vision rehabilitation professionals, but also all medical and blindness students along with their family members. This book is available in all formats regardless of sight impairment: text, ebook, and audiobook. It is also available in all online bookstores, inside the Eye Disease website, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Zillibris.
Well, we are right back, and we try to get in touch with our guest. Unfortunately, she's back.
Here.
She finally came. All right, I guess you can talk to I guess they've been suffer and waiting for you. You can have what you know what to say to them. Maybe some apology to a lot of them.
I'm sorry. I have 3 laptops here trying to get back on.
But that's good. Give your information because the people been asking for your information, your phone number, your contact,
Sure.
if they want to get in touch with you.
No problem. So, like I said, we have an office in Jamaica, Queens. The phone number directly to that office is 347-535-3584. So it's 347-535-3584. We do consultations. So you can always call and schedule a consultation. Our consultation fee is $100. We will go over with you your specific situation. We can take a look at any documents you want us to take a look at and advise accordingly. But some of the main things that I do want to go over, just to make sure people have some more information, I suggest that everyone who's a business owner or self-employed, just take a look at your situation and see if this is something you qualify for, because the funds have not run out yet. And I'm very, very passionate, and my husband is very, very passionate about our community, especially in recent times. I would be remiss to say or not to say this, but we are in some serious times. And every single thing that we can do to help our community get a leg up and get anything that is owed to them, we are going to do. That is our purpose, our mission. That is our driving force, is to serve our community. All right. So definitely reach out to us. This is not something you should be afraid of. The bill was passed today that does a lot for us. It extends the coverage period from 8 weeks to 24 weeks, potentially till December 31st, the end of the year. It allows you to spend more money on things like qualified expenses versus just the majority on payroll. So you have that choice. You can choose to take the term loan, which is 1%. So even in the worst case scenario, and all of your funds that you were awarded did not get forgiven, it's a 1% loan. I do not know anywhere that you can get a loan on anything for 1%, especially in these times. And do we even qualify to go to our banks and get the loans? The forgiveness process will be going through the banks. You will submit the documentation on the bank's portal. I was in contact with one of the managers of Carver Bank today. The portals are not active that I've seen, even in the banks that funded us. But when it does become active, this is something you're going to submit your proof and your application to your bank, and your bank will then submit to the SBA. What the banks are lobbying for, the banks this week have been lobbying for all loans under 150,000 to be automatically forgiven. So this is a big deal. Most of the loans, 83% of them, are already under $150,000. So what that means is, potentially, if they're able to accomplish this, it will automatically be forgiven, where the strenuous application process that we have to go through now, it won't be that serious, right? You'll just have to attest that you were responsible with the funds, and the bank can attest for you to the SBA. So we don't know if that's going to happen, but I hope it does happen. Another thing I'd like to mention for our self-employed people, if you applied for unemployment and you are getting unemployment, if you are issued a PPP loan, and your unemployment, do not double dip and take both, because when this is reconciled come tax time, they will be able to see that you double dipped, and you can't do that. So don't do that, right? So pick one. If you were receiving unemployment, and then this week you got funded, that's fine. Your unemployment was for the prior weeks, but as of today, if you got funded, just stop the unemployment then as of today. And that's for people who are independent contractors that now qualify for federal unemployment, right? So let me see here if there's anything else that's really important with this new rule. So there are calculations in terms of people who are running payrolls and how the loan gets forgiven. There are calculations. One of the sites that is really on top of the calculations I'm going to give to you guys, this site has a payroll protection calculator. You can see if you can figure it out, but I would advise that if you got funded, that you have somebody consult with someone to help you to figure this out, because there are calculations behind the calculations, if you know what I mean. But this site is aicpa.org, aicpa.org/SBA. They have a paycheck protection calculator.
You want to repeat it for your IT? You can put it on the screen.
A as in apple, A as in apple, I as in igloo, C as in cat, P as in Paul, A as in apple, .org/SBA. So if you receive the loan and you feel confident with your forgiveness application process, you can use their calculators. The application that came out last week will be updated because of the new rulings that happened today. They're going to have to update the application. So what people can start to do is to get their documents in place, start to document their spending, find out from your payroll companies what type of reports that they're running on your behalf for the PPP. So those are some of the things that you can start to do. So any detailed questions about anyone's business, feel free to reach out to us and we can advise you. This is going to take some further tax planning because also whatever you spent these funds on, you will not be able to write off on your 2020 tax return. So if you took $2,000 towards your payroll, you have to deduct that $2,000 from whatever expenses you're trying to write off on your tax return. So this is something that takes some tax planning from beginning to end. So if you receive the loan, I would suggest that you if you haven't already, meet with your tax preparer, your CPA, and start to plan out so that you can have some sort of foresight if you're going to apply for forgiveness, what that's going to look like, what the tax may look like on a future tax return if you have to put some money aside. But this is not something we should be afraid of. We have till the rest of the year to get our books in order. And one of the issues that I see with our community is our books aren't in order. So now it's really a time to just clean it up and get our books in order and get what is owed to you. This is your tax dollars. We pay into this. So get what's owed to you if you qualify.
Okay, I have there is question on the live for you. If I have no success with a loan with my bank in the past, will that affect my ability to obtain this loan?
No, you can apply to as many banks as you would like. You can only accept one offer. So if you're not getting through with one bank, you are more than welcome to apply to as many banks. And we encourage that. We definitely encourage that. And whichever bank was able to push through your application and get you an offer, you can accept one offer, but you can apply to as many banks as you'd like.
The other question, do we have to show bank record of debit and check writing?
So that could be. So let's say in your documenting, if the banks are going to ask for their requirements. So if you have an account where you're able to show, listen, I put $50 to Con Edison, I put $180 to pay, my gas company, National General, I paid them $180. You can back that up with your bank statements should they need further proof. For our customers, we have a very detailed Excel spreadsheet. If you have a bookkeeper, your bookkeeper can help to track your expenses. You can reconcile your expenses once a month if you'd like. But yes, create a spreadsheet and put dates to your payments and account numbers to your payments, and you can always back those up with your statements.
Okay, now I have more question for you. Where I know you talk about the loan forgiveness, the PPP loan. This question, where do we apply for PPP loan forgiveness?
It'll be through your
Directly
bank.
with SBA, or do we apply with the financial institution we use for application?
The financial institution you used. So the SBA is working through the banks. The bank
Okay.
will be having, they will update their portals to be able to update whatever the forgiveness application is going to be. And you're going to submit to the bank what they request, and then the bank will attest to the SBA that what they received is sufficient for forgiveness.
Well, that's good. Let me see if there is more question for you. Okay, I don't see more question for you. And do you have anything else you want to address to our community?
So, like I said before, apply, reach out, see if you qualify. The money's still available. The pot isn't dry yet. The well isn't dry yet. So reach out and apply and see. If you are in the position where you were funded and now you're nervous, reach out and see, how do I responsibly document my spending? Use this money for what it's meant for, and keep the money that you're getting, to use towards whatever activities or improvements that you need to make to your business. But apply and find out. Get a second opinion if you feel like you want someone to look over your documents again. Not everybody will apply, but for those who haven't applied that would actually get these funds, or for those who qualify, this is technically it's a stimulus package for us as business owners. Most of the people who are employed in this nation are employed by small business owners. They're not employed by major corporations. We pay high taxes as well as small business owners. So why not get some sort of relief to be able to continue to employ people in our own communities and keep the dollars in our own communities and improve our own communities? So if you haven't done so and you really want to look into it, don't wait too long, because eventually the fund will be depleted. But right now it isn't, and it's still an opportunity.
Well, I would say thank you very much. But I see on the live, I get text from the director of the network. He asks, is there is a way we can get some in-service 5 minute weekly or once a month on the news and
An
that aspect
update?
from you? Yes,
Sure.
from you.
Yeah, that's no
Even
problem.
you.
And yeah, we can do that, because the law was just passed today. It took weeks for the Treasury and the SBA to sort out rules and their interim rules, and you have to know where to read and what to read. There are bills being passed, and it gets confusing. So it's almost like things are changing every day, every couple days. So we can definitely do updates. That's no problem. The loan application, I was going to, not application for the loan, but the forgiveness application, I was going to go over with you guys today, but it doesn't even make sense, because as of today, that's probably not going to be the application anymore, right? So we can definitely do some updates and see if we can do it weekly or monthly. We can work on a schedule, doctor. That's no
Yes,
problem.
yes. Whatever work for you. And I'm glad you're a low vision patient. You're welcome to
Yes.
PCVI network. Because remember, this month is Ellen Keller month. I don't know if you heard a lot about her. And
Yes.
well, there is, and also we didn't talk about it early. It's like people that completely blind that use a dog, guide dog, and these people, even we talk about social distancing, and they have their voice also. They've been fighting and
Yes.
explain to people on the street. Their dog doesn't know as for social distancing. Their dog
Mhm.
know to avoid them skip to people. You see that little girl. She talk about it. She said if you see anybody that's completely blind with a dog in the street and they're warning at you, they don't choose to do that. Just talk to them. Just let them know you're coming at me. She will move to a different direction because the dog is guiding her, but the dog know how to avoid her to get to something, but the dog doesn't know the social distancing. This is a and why we talk about this now, we have to talk for them. And as far we get the opportunity, we talk for them. And also, this month is global I guess this month's I want to say is global accessibility awareness month where we have to talk for them, and we are low vision place. Again, Shana, we thank you very much for the opportunity. And you want to say the last word to everyone who going to see the show tonight? I'm just going to let you know the show people can see it again on YouTube, but it's going to air out also in cable vision channel 115 on Friday between one to three. But it's going the whole show, people can listen to it. And the only part we're going to take out is the part when you were out. That's part going to
Okay.
be taken out. Do you have a last word you want to share with the community? Your
I
conclusion.
would just like to, yeah, thank you guys once again, the network and everyone that participated and will see the call or the show tonight. I just want to thank you guys. Stay safe, love your families. We're doing everything we can to make sure that our communities have a fighting chance. And I think that's just, where our heart is right now. And I just want to thank you.
But I thank you too, and I appreciate all the good information you provide. Hopefully, people who are going to watch this show, they can share it to your friend. And Shana phone number is on the screen, and reach out to her if you have any question. I know we have a Asian based clientele. She speaks Creole. I believe her husband is Asian, but she might
He's
speak more
Asian.
Creole.
Yes, I'm a
You might
prophet.
speak more, yeah, you might speak more
I
Creole than him. But
me.
reach out to her. She's wide open, and it's good. You never know. You may think you will not be qualified. You will, and start calling, and or the director of a network or some of the guests of a network, because they can always refer you to someone that really know, that can help you, that where you will not be in trouble, that's going to tell you, if you go that way, this is what's going to happen. If you go that way, this is what's going to happen. Again, thank you, and we appreciate all the information you provide to the network tonight. And
Thank
we say goodbye. And as I always show at the end of my show, I always say that every show has a beginning and we have an end, and this is the time we have to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you, IT Eric, and everyone watching this show to take the time. And I saw you have a good team. Hopefully,
Yes, very good
yeah,
team.
I can see them. I can see your team, and but that's very good. And this is the way we have to go right now, because I always talk about it in the healthcare system, what we call about the ecosystem, because several practice put themselves together to face the challenge we're facing, the world are
Hmm.
facing now, stuff like that. We need to team up, to do things. It's no longer
Absolutely.
the way it used to be before. One person
Hmm.
think they can make any change by themselves, and one help each
Absolutely.
other. Hopefully you will be back to the network. Remember what I said to you. The director of the network asks you if you can give
Okay.
them, but you promise that.
Yes,
Anyway, thank you again.
no problem.
Okay.
In lieu of all that is happening with COVID-19, we have adjusted our office policies to best suit our patients and to ensure our overall safety. Our current hours of operation are from 10:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. At this moment, we strongly encourage patients to only come to the office if you have made an appointment or have called in advance, as we only allow a specific number of individuals in office at one time. Per CDC recommendations, we are still following social distancing protocol, so we ask that all patients keep at least 6 feet of distance between themselves and others. Patients are required to wear a mask in order to enter the office and thus be seen by the doctor. Also, upon entrance, your temperature will be taken and we'll be asking you some questions concerning symptoms and exposure. While we are open, we understand that many still may be tentative to leave their homes, so we are currently offering virtual appointments using telemedicine technology and general wellness calls. If you have any questions or simply just want to schedule an appointment with us, please do not hesitate to call at 516-200-3850. The Prince Center for the Visually Impaired wants to thank you all for your continued support and cooperation, and we know with your help, we'll be able to build a safe and healthy environment for our staff and patients.